let's check out the information. Gesundheit. Let's check out the information of these two.
We'll just show the symbol.
Right. Faithful Word Baptist Church. Here's the hyperlink.
And this is a Cape Town,
South Africa.
South Africa, right there. You see it.
This is the address, the profile address. Here's a phone number. That's obviously a U.S.-based phone number. Excuse me. Website redirects to Faithful Word Baptist Church, Anderson's church website. I'm not going to click on it because I don't want to vex myself with this nonsense on his website. But this is interesting. Universal One Church has the exact same address. Cape Town, Western Cape, 7100, South Africa. Same address between the two. Different names. Different phone number. And it goes to universalonechurch.org, which last time I checked, the website doesn't even work. But both are listed as two separate church entries at the exact same location. See? The location marker isn't moving. The name is moving and changing. The phone number moves. But the address right here remains the same. Interesting. Weird. No conspiracy there, I'm sure.
Okay.
And here's an even better view, map-wise, of Cape Town, Western Cape, 7100, South Africa. So, just like Bogart said, the Erster River area of Cape Town, is basically the vicinity of where he wants to build at least one church building.
Yep.
So,
all right, go to the next thing.
Now, as far as...
and I want to just type in something here quick. Let me first go to Galatians. Just to show you something here, I'm going to put some scripture into this. Galatians chapter 5. And all this stuff back and forth, and we got to, do all these things, and the government's against us, and this government's against us, and they got to pass laws, and they got to sign in petitions and all. Right here, Anderson likes to talk about fruit from a ministry they try to talk about souls saved and churches opening. But look at this. Galatians 5:22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. You do the true work of Jesus Christ, you don't have to worry about people passing laws and things like that. And I'm not saying Christians don't get persecuted. I obviously know that they do. But it's just this whole thing of Anderson and all this stuff. It's wickedness. Go ahead.
Okay. Here's the entry on how cleric is defined. Okay.
And you can look and just show you this real quickly here. This is the printed out from books and things. Okay, we aren't going to be able to show this on camera. But you can look this stuff up on your own.
Right. It's from the 1907 to 1912 edition of the Catholic Encyclopedia, Volume 4. Starts on page 49. Cleric. A person who has been legitimately received into the ranks of the clergy. That newspaper article calls him cleric, for very good reason. By clergy in the strict sense is meant the entire ecclesiastical hierarchy. Consequently, a cleric is one who belongs in some sense to the hierarchy. For this, it is necessary that he have received at least the tonsure, which is basically a halo of hair around the head. They also receive the power of governing the flocks, which power is represented by the keys, a well-known Oriental symbol for authority. Probably the best suggested explanation is that, from lot or portion, it came to mean a particular lot or office assigned to someone, and finally the person himself possessing the lot or office. Cleric Bogart, title-wise. And while cleric in its strict sense means one who has received the ecclesiastical tonsure, yet in a general sense it is also employed in canon law for all to whom clerical privileges have been extended. Such are the members of religious orders. So both religious institute personnel and non-religious are classified as clerics. For example, monks and nuns, even lay brothers and novices, it is also applied to the tertiaries of the mendicant orders. If they be men, however, they must live in community. And members of military religious orders such as formerly the Knights Templars still exists, just now a York Rite Association. And at present the Teutonic Knights and Knights of Malta rank as clerics. Very interesting. The meaning of the word has been so extended as to include even laics, men or women, who render service to a regular community, such as by begging, provided they wear a clerical dress and reside near the monastery or convent. And so, they basically, clerics must wear a costume suited to their state. Roman collar, for instance. While the common canon law does not determine in every detail what the dress of clerics should be, yet many and various prescriptions on the subject are found in the canons, the pontifical constitutions, and the decrees of councils. These ordain that the clerics are not to wear the dress of laymen. They must abstain from gaudy colors unbecoming their state. The wearing of a soutane or cassock on all occasions, even in public, is prescribed for clerics living in Rome, and bishops may command the same in their dioceses. In non-Catholic countries, synods generally prescribe that for public use the dress of clerics should be such as to distinguish them from laymen. As we've seen from Bogart's photos, that is of black or a sober color, and that the so-called Roman collar be worn. In private, clergymen are commonly required to wear the soutane. Clerics are forbidden to engage in trade and secular business for the sake of gain, and including gambling and stocks is still illicit for clergymen. And there are stringent laws concerning the relations of clerics with persons of the other sex. Above all, they must avoid associating with those whose moral character causes the least suspicion, as we'll see in not too long with pictures. Unbecoming amusements are also forbidden to them, such as the frequenting of improper plays and spectacles, the visiting of taverns, indulgence in games of chance, carrying of arms. Got some interesting photos on that. Following the chase, etc. When in the above amusements, however, there is no necessary impropriety, lawful custom and synodal prescriptions may make a participation in them allowable, and they are bound to obey their diocesan bishops in all matters determined by the canon law.
Yeah, and you know, of course, that they aren't going to be following these regulations, just like a lot of the military regulations. You know, soldiers, don't go by the book with a lot of this stuff.
Right.
So, but let's continue on here.
Okay.
You want to open the next window? Let me just give you one other scripture here real quickly. Let me show you this. I was trying to think of where this was at. Just to show you here real quick. Titus chapter 2 verses 8 and 9 says about sound speech that cannot be condemned. That he that is on the verse 7 is where I want to start. In all things showing thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. So again, Anderson saying, coming out and saying all this stuff, obviously purposely just to make people mad. It's not right. It really isn't right. So,
okay.
What are we doing here now?
Now let's go to, hold on. Let's go to a new window, because now we're going to talk about Bogart's background and who he is and why he's important to this whole thing. So, okay, that's the one right here. Who is Cleric Oscar Peter Bogart? Well, this is information on him, and this information right here, from here to here, is going to be talked about later. But Hope Ministries RSA Cools River.
I have to zoom in a little bit there because it's pretty small. Okay.
Okay. Get my pages here. Hope Ministries RSA Cools River. Pardon my mispronounced words. Hope Ministries RSA Cools River. Misspelled somewhere. Had its first service in West Bank, Cools River, on Sunday, 15th of June, 2008, under the leadership of Pastor F.J. Abrahams and his wife, Michelle Abrahams, and it is the first congregation born out of the Ministry of Hope Ministries, RSA, Strandfontein, that is under the leadership of Reverend O.P. Bogart, that was born in 2006 in a classroom in Beacon Valley, Mitchell's Plain. Okay?
Yep.
That sentence. And then a ministry such as Hope, Helper People Excel, RSA, is a beacon of hope in this area. And
Yeah,
blah,
blah,
blah.
whatever.
Scroll down to qualification of leadership and mission statement. Reverend Oscar Peter Bogart, right there, is a graduate of Calvary Commission Bible School, diploma in systematic Bible theology, and a current undergraduate degree student at UWCMA in Florida, here in the United States. The Reverend O.P. Bogart is chairman of Calvary Commission Bible School Board of Directors. And the last sentence, therefore be it we, the body of the Pentecostal believers. Remember what we said earlier about Anderson having Pentecostal charismatic connections? Here we go. Pentecostal believers, recognizing ourselves as part of the church which Christ established, do hereby declare ourselves a sovereign church in the Republic of South Africa, in order that we may fulfill our responsibilities spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ to all.
Yep.
And this is rather telling, prayer and cell groups. Just highlight that for a minute, because that's a spiritual formation type of phrase.
Yep.
Okay, the next tab, Calvary Hope Ministries. Okay, scroll up for a minute. Okay, Calvary Hope Ministries started its first service on 6th of December 2009. Our covenant churches are revival evangelistic ministries with Bishop Clive Samuels. There's that word there, Bishop Clive Samuels, and Beacon Hill Ministries with Bishop Livingstone Winston Jacobs.
Of course, people say, well, bishop's a Bible word. It is a Bible word. That's correct. But where does the Bible say that there's this hierarchical, uniform-wearing bishop thing? It's not there. Let's continue.
And specific greetings for
our senior
pastor and visionary hails from Strandfontein, Cape Town, and he was an associate pastor at Revival Evangelistic Ministries and assistant to the pastor at Beacon Hill Calvary Ministries, meaning assistant to Livingstone Winston Jacobs. Pastor Oscar Peter Bogart is a graduate from Calvary Commission Bible School and a current BTH student at UWMA. I think there's some spellings, but anyhow, and scroll down just for a minute. Our staff, Elenda Bogart, that's Oscar's wife. That's a key name to remember here in just a few moments, and I'll tell you why. Okay, next one is Hope Ministries.
This one?
Yes, RSA. Go up a little bit. Okay. Hope Ministries RSA, first sentence, started its first service in January 2006 in a classroom at the Alpine Primary School on the Cape Flats in Cape Town, South Africa. The founder of the ministry, Reverend Oscar Peter Bogart, is a graduate of Calvary Commission Bible School and a current student. You can read his titles there, and was ordained in 2002. Reverend Bogart married Elenda Margaret Plaches, whatever, on 27th of March of 93. And it goes on about his family. But the next sentence is interesting. Sister Bogart, nice title, is working as a nurse in the Tygerberg Hospital and uses her days off to work with Reverend Bogart in the poorest of the poor areas on the Cape Flats, namely Tafelzig and Mitchell's Plain. Reverend Bogart is a marriage officer and counselor, and that work in an area, yada, yada, yada. Our aim is to build a church in the middle of crime and drug-infested Tafelzig, whatever. Our church plan is to build 2 buildings in the middle of 2 crime hot zones, Tafelzig, Mitchell's Plain, and West Bank Cool River. And they're trying to raise funds for their intended church buildings. And here's rather telling. All donations can be deposited in the account of Hope Ministries RSA. The name of the bank is Ned Bank. Account number stated.
Whatever.
Yep, which is rather telling. So he's not shy about telling who he banks with for channeling funds. Our leader at our West Bank Cools River branch is Pastor Frederick Johannes Abrahams and his wife Michelle Abrahams and 3 children. Hope Hope Ministries RSA had its first service under the leadership of Pastor Abrahams on the 15th of June 2008. So
Yep.
So that tells you who's who in Bogart's church building system. And okay, yep.
Right, there's that.
Go to the
Next one.
Calvary Commission Bible School. Again, the school rector is Bishop Livingstone Winston Jacobs. His degrees. Chairman Board of Directors, Pastor Oscar Peter Bogart, with his academic titles. And Vice Chairman, Pastor Clint Root. Interesting, because these are keywords you need to remember for the next tab that we're going to look at here. Go to the LinkedIn tab. This is Oscar Peter Bogart's LinkedIn profile, and you know it's him because senior pastor at Calvary Hope Ministries, as we've seen several times before, Cape Town area of South Africa. There he shows his, you don't need to see the full profile to know it's him. So it's just another way of saying it confirms the other resources. Okay, that next tab. This is another one of the ministries tied to Bogart, because Calvary Hope Ministries, Health Missions Outreach, and Bogart, Strandfontein, Cape Town, Western Cape. Okay. Yep. This is important to also note because we'll see in this next tab these different entries. Okay. Scroll up. Well, here we have Hope Ministries RSA, Pastor Oscar Peter Bogart, listed at charismatic.org//South Africa. Okay. Yep. If you go up.
Thing up there, Charismatic and Pentecostal Directory. So, Bogart is listed in this thing.
Right.
And Anderson has videos on how to witness to a Pentecostal.
Right.
Preaches against them.
And
he recommends them.
Yeah, really. And and if you scroll down to Calvary Hope Ministries, Health Missions Outreach, right here, Pastor E.M. Bogart. That's rather telling. His wife's name is Elenda M. Bogart. So that's his wife's name with the title of pastor. What does the Bible say about female pastors? Or women doing what?
Yep. Let's continue.
Usurping authority? Okay. And next page is Calvary Hope Ministries Pentecostal Church. So again, another confirmation from their own profile that they are Pentecostal affiliated. Okay.
And there he is right there.
Right, and there's his wife.
There's his wife.
And
yep.
So we're not making this up. The next one is Bogart's personal page. Okay. There's a picture of his Roman collar with the rabbit and the vestments, and netministries.com, which we saw variations of that earlier. I am Christian minister of the gospel of Satan. I mean, his Bogart's version of what he calls Jesus Christ, and senior pastor Calvary Hope Ministries. So this confirms the other sources that we've already showed. Okay, and the home page, just click on that real quick. This is where he's ranting about his views on sodomy in PC terms. And again, the contact information right here confirms what we've already showed.
Yep.
So,
okay.
Dr. Longenegger, this is an article. If it'll show up, hopefully. You might have to refresh it.
Let's get in there.
Yeah, really. Notice how earlier you saw that Elenda Bogart works at Tygerberg Hospital. Well, this is the article that proves it. If you, maximize it a bit. Okay. Here she is. Elinda Bogart right there.
You can see Sister Linda
Right, and now
Bogart.
normally I wouldn't think much of the title sister being given to all of them. Sister Elinda, Sister Christine, Sister, doctor, whatever. But when it comes to hospitals and the military medical establishment, the medical establishment was, if you trace it back far enough, ties back to the Vatican and Roman Catholicism. So it's rather telling that all the female employees at this hospital are addressed as sister, just like Roman Catholic nuns are addressed as sister, and just like sorority girls are called sister.
Right.
Rather telling. And
next.
Yep. And then, okay, this is for later on. We gotta finish about Bogart. Okay. This will be
okay.
Next we're going to talk about Cleric Bogart's apparel, or rather vestments, as it's officially called. And the first subject is where's his here's his Twitter account, so that way we can show things. And here's Reverend Oscar P. Bogart's Twitter account. This information confirms the stuff we've already showed on him. And the first one is the cassock that he wears. Where's my first entry? Here's what a cassock, if I can get that. Okay, this is what's called a black Roman-style cassock with purple piping for canons and a certain other title in the Catholic Church. Okay, this is rather interesting to see because we're gonna go to. Oh, okay, he's wearing a house cassock, and that would be. No, that's not what I wanted. We're gonna scroll down to, and of course in his photos he doesn't ever show his certain type of ring that he wears out in addition to his marriage ring, but nice blue tie. Have to wonder if there's a subtle Masonic reference to that or not. But where I had this written down. 3rd of December 2016 Twitter is where, I don't know why it keeps doing this. May 20th. Come on, get to the 2016 entries. Okay, here we go. Interesting how the article on the clergy from the Catholic Encyclopedia mentioned something to do with arms. Very telling photo. Okay, here's part of his cassock, but it's not a very good picture. Another little picture of him and Anderson. I'll probably just have to
show those.
I'll just have to show this, I guess. And okay, here's a close-up view of his choir cassock or soutane, because a cassock doesn't have these large cuffs, but this is also called a soutane or a cassock for dress of chaplains of His Holiness and canons with stole. This is a close-up view. Okay, as you saw earlier, a regular cassock. This is his tweet from 2015. Here he's in his Roman-style choir cassock for bishops with stole. Stole, the collar, the purple trimming. Here you have another tweet from his account. Community prayer walk on Palm Sunday of 2016. Ankle length cassock. Purple rabat out around a Roman collar. Okay. Here you have him doing a community service. Communion service, excuse me, at Mass at his church building, which we saw on his Twitter account as we scrolled down. Very interesting, because if you do a search for black cassock with purple piping, this is one of the items that shows up, and they call it a man's clergy robe, black purple preacher, purple piping for preacher. You know, and yet this is in similar form a house cassock for protonotary apostolic clergy. See the similarities? Here is his Easter celebration poster from his Twitter account from April 13th of this year, wearing his soutane with purple trimming. Seems he's very fond of showing this off. Children dedication service, also from his Twitter account from February 20th of this year. Again, in his black and purple trimmed soutane with his wife. Career woman / pastor. Calvary Hope Ministries, affiliated to Faithful Word Baptist Church. CPT for Cape Town. And, you know, again, he's in his clergy attire or vestments.
Yep.
From June 3rd of this year.
Okay.
And you can see the similarities between what he wears and these different forms of cassocks. You know, his is a Latin single-breasted cassock like it shows. He doesn't have this matching cape in any of his pictures, but you can tell he has this with the large cuffs right there, you know, in purple and purple trimming. And of course, the official uniform for this style is purple colored fabric covered buttons and purple trimming, but you can accentuate it.
Yeah.
However you want to.
One.
Did we already show this one?
Yeah, you already showed that one.
Okay, so
move on to the next folder.
Here we have there we go. Okay, here's a picture of a Compassionate Christ pectoral cross gold plate Byzantium style. Okay, and here we have Pastor Bogart in his photo showing his pectoral cross, Latin style pectoral cross with chain, and in a photo. And here we have another photo of him for his political affiliation. I am voting the straight party.
Yep.
You know, with his pectoral cross in the photo. No shame in it, just, yeah, I'm wearing my pectoral cross. You know, and what's significant about the soutane or the cassock with cuffs is this. According to the Catholic Picture Dictionary, okay, page 30. You have cassock, a long-skirted, close-fitting black garment worn by clerics and priests.
And sissies.
Also called soutane.
Yeah.
Then,
I mean, it's all Book of Acts, you know. It's there, right there. They wore robes all the time.
Sure.
But.
Sure, of course.
Keep it going.
Okay. Next we have to talk about his cassock. Where does this idea of his black cassock with purple trimming come from? Well, there's a site that I'll just go to the site real quick because I have it printed out. And But I'll shut your site. Can't type. .com/clerical dress. Now this article is written by a Catholic STL, a licentiate of sacred theology, essentially. So a master's degree holder or master's degree student, you know, with a Catholic status in academia. If we scroll down to, so this is not just some random article about this stuff. Dress of chaplains of His Holiness. Choir dress. Black wool cassock trimmed in purple silk. What did we see earlier about Bogart's cassock? Granted, you know, he doesn't have these others in his photos, but black cassock trimmed in purple silk. Peon dress. Black wool cassock trimmed in purple silk. You know, certain manufacturers for cassocks will give you different options for accents and how you want your uniforms, as long as it's within the allowable regulation of your locality or diocese. But if we go down to dress of canons, all other canons, unless they were bishops, now wear as choir dress. A black or gray wool mozzetta, which he doesn't have, trimmed in purple silk, or a purple wool mozzetta trimmed in purple silk, if explicitly allowed for the chapter by the diocesan bishop, over an unpleated surplice and the choir cassock to which they are entitled. This choir dress is used only when they are in the cathedral slash collegial church, or when accompanying the bishop. For all other forms of dress, and for the remainder of the choir dress, they wear what is proper to their rank. So, you know, canons can also wear black cassocks with purple silk trimming, just like chaplains of His Holiness do. So, kind of gives a new meaning to what he's wearing. And further on down in this article, the notes are very specific in this. The choir cassock now differs.
You're gonna have to go down because you're up. Let me do it here.
Sorry.
Right here.
The choir cassock now differs. This is a note, source reference note. Now differs in form, and that it has cuffs of the material and color of the trimming. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah.
So
the whole point is, it's, you know, she gets really detailed into a lot of this stuff. She does her research, you know, to everybody out there. She isn't just light with her research and things like that. She's showing this stuff. You know, we don't have to read all this stuff simply because it's there.
And you can read on note 13 about the trimming of the cassock and why I was trying to point that out about his uniform, his vestments, excuse me. And if you go down to note 17, I just want to make a quick mention. You can read about the ordinary pectoral cross. That is what he is wearing. His pectoral cross is called ordinary because it's suspended from a chain of the same color of the pectoral cross. So you can read that note in its entirety to understand more about it.
Yep.
And so what is should I read? I have references on clerical costume.
No.
And
we've proved
stole.
That.
Okay.
We've proved it. I mean, it's just, if somebody's not convinced by now, we're not going to be able to convince them even if we read everything.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's move on to the next section here.
And we talked about the pectoral cross. The doctor, go over to the folder there, various uniforms. And Doctor Divinity, clergy pulpit robe. And, okay.
I'll just show you this.
This is a clerical robe, and then you can see some similarities with what Bogart wears. This is a close-up of the Doctor of Divinity pulpit robe, clergy pulpit robe. Here's a side view of it, Now keep this picture and the previous one of the close-up view in mind very clearly, because what we're about to show you with Bogart's vestments is very similar to this.
Yep.
Here is faculty custom regalia, otherwise known as commencement attire,
right.
Commencement regalia in academia, colleges
Bogart.
and universities. And here is Bogart's clergy pulpit robe. It looks very similar to what we already saw earlier. And this is him again in a pulpit robe with a Neil Pinar, which is who he ordained according to his Twitter profile, as we'll see.
There's the vestments just one more time. See it?
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
You can see the similarities between a clergy pulpit robe and academia faculty robes.
Yep.
They're just slightly tweaked. The 3 scarlet chevrons on his clergy pulpit robe are a academic regalia symbol, meaning doctoral level.
Yep.
And okay, so we showed that. Do I have page 5? Okay. And yep. Okay. This one's now the cope. This is another part of bishop attire, the cope. Here's a cope manufacturer from Poland. I thought this was rather telling because it's similar to what you'll see in a moment. This is the back side of the cope, Jesuit symbol obviously, clasp on the cope, and this is what distinguishes it from a cape or a I think that's what the other thing is. And this is another view of copes, back and front. Okay. And they can have sleeves. So it's not just they don't have sleeves. They do. They can have sleeves. This is the clasp of the cope, and obviously it has sleeves for better movement. You can read about it in the Catholic Encyclopedia, but that's the front of his cope. His assistant, Neil Pinar, if I'm saying it correctly, is also wearing the exact same cope as what you just saw on Bogart. This is Bogart ordaining Bishop Mark Page, and this is the back of the cope. Remember, we saw the back being this is a stylized back to this or this. There's very little difference between the styles of what Bogart and Mark Page, Bishop Mark Page wear. And this is another style with a clasp. So, these are all copes with clasps, just to show you there is a similarity between what Mark Page is wearing and what Bogart also has been wearing. Right there. Front view.
Yep.
So, and you can look it up in the Catholic Encyclopedia. But just to clarify what a cope is used for, we'll go to page 43 in the Catholic Picture Dictionary from before. A cope is a large cloak in the shape of a half circle, usually made of silk, reaching from the shoulders to the feet of the priest. It is worn at benediction, vespers, absolution of the dead, and in processions, also called pluvial. So,
and again, you can see here the Roman collar.
Right.
So
with the rabbit, because you see a Roman collar, you know that there's going to be a rabbit include. Rabat. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it. Whatever. Next we have... Get rid of those. Next we have the clergy shirts. Okay. This is Bogart wearing his purple clergy shirt. Okay. Roman collar. This is obviously a type of rabat, because it's attached to the Roman collar. And here we have, notice this, the way the shirt is made right here is very similar to this guy's shirt and his shirt and also his shirt. And of course, ironically, he's wearing a pectoral cross, Latin style pectoral cross, Roman collar. So these are all pictures to show the similarity of what you've seen and Bogart's photo. Okay?
Yep.
Roman collar with different styles of clergy vestments. Okay? Now we have Roman collar. Okay? This is from his Facebook page. Here you can see clearly the Roman collar, the black rabat with it, and this is called Kenti or Kent African Heritage Trim, and you can get this stylized to your specific colors or whatever if you feel like it. Instead of the regular Roman collar with the black rabat and the uniform of Vatican Ambassador to South Africa, Archbishop Peter Wells is just wearing your generalized Roman collar with black rabat and other vestment attire. And here you have another picture of Bogart showing off his Roman collar uniform and talking to somebody during a marriage ceremony. Here you have Bogart showing off his Roman collar again, vestment, marrying this guy and his wife there in South Africa. Again, the Kent African Heritage Trim.
Mm-hmm.
Here you have Reverend O.P. Bogart showing off his Roman collar with a, navy blue looking shirt. And nice little propaganda there of the King James Bible, and another clergyman wearing a Roman collar, just like Bogart. See the similarity? Here, he's wearing his Roman collar during the marriage ceremony or signing of the book because that's what he said he's authorized to do. And there's a same one but a different snapshot.
Right.
So he has no problem showing off his Roman collar, which I find it to be rather similar to Archbishop Peter Wells's Roman collar and vestments, chosen vestments.
Okay.
And this is just, you can look this up and find out that this is, if you look up Kenti Trim Bishop Cassock, you'll find examples like this, with the same style of cross as what you've seen in Bogart's attire from before.
Yep.
Okay. Batone cross. From his Twitter, March 14th of 2016, he's showing the Batone cross symbol on his vestments, his clergy robe. Okay, you can see it close up very clearly. At his church, Hope Ministries. And here you have another view of his Batone cross symbol on his on the stole of his soutane, because of the large cuffs right here, and at a service at his church. This is also found on his Twitter account.
Yep.
And if you want to look up a little bit about the Batone cross, you can find it in the Catholic Encyclopedia, Volume 4 of 1907 and 1912. It's on the second to last page. But the Batone cross is a Latin type of cross, in case you didn't know. And so I find that rather telling. If he's just a regular, pastor, why is he wearing all these different Catholic symbols and outfits, or rather vestments, excuse me. And last but not least, his activities. He a picture of him showing the article that he will build Anderson's church. How telling. You saw the family
we don't need
photos.
to go through all that stuff again, just because of the sake of time here. It's good.
There's this thing right here. Here you have his tweet from December 3rd of 2016 showing him visiting the Queen in London. Well, what's significant about that? Here you have Queen Elizabeth II in London wearing the Order of the Garter attire. Okay? From what I know off the top of my head, she has at least 3 National Shriner and Royal Order affiliations. Probably more, but 3 I can name off the top of my head. This is Knight of Malta. Remember what the article said in the encyclopedia, Catholic Encyclopedia? Knights of Malta also is classified under the clergy profile. Interesting.
Yep.
And here she is in her Diamond Jubilee attire, 1948, and then 2012 from the Royal Order of Sartorial Splendor. That's a National Shriner affiliated organization that she's a member of, which I find his visit to her in London, his tweet about that, to be rather telling.
Just to show a couple more pictures here of him and Anderson together, you know, sitting there
playing the piano
at Anderson Inc.'s cult building. There they are out spreading their heresy.
Yep.
The poor native people down in Arizona. And there's so much stuff here.
There's something weird about, go to that one, South Africa's Anderson Inc. supporter. There's something weird about that sign in the back. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that means Christian Brothers or something, but it's something weird.
Whatever. You know, there's we can't go off on all these other issues.
And he's appearing on television, according to his Twitter account. So, you know, and the film recording. Let me find the film recording.
Okay.
Because that's rather telling. We mentioned that earlier, and that's rather telling. Film recording from Bogart's Twitter account. Here he is posing with Anderson in the filming studio. You have to wonder which documentary or propaganda films, you know, he was advising Anderson on, because something was going on for him to tweet that and take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I just find it very, very telling.
Get back to the previous page there. I wanted to show.
And here's, did we show this yet?
Go ahead.
Here's another photo. Anderson right there, being promoted by Calvary Hope Ministries for a special soul-winning marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from Bogart's own Twitter account from this year.
Yep. So go back to the other page.
The activities.
Okay, that one. What's this?
This is Bogart's ecumenical doings, because he yoked up with a Southern Hills Baptist Church from, I don't know where, I guess a local place.
Huh.
You know, so it goes, this is from 2013, so he's been ecumenical with the Baptists for years. And, we already, and, so that's pretty much, here's the Bogart and Anderson crew. You know, they're in Cape Town from February of this year. And another picture of Bogart at Anderson's church in 2016. And I think that pretty much covers it for the pictures. The last thing is the information on Livingstone Winston Jacobs, Dr. Jacobs. And this guy, here's a picture of him. This is Bogart, obviously, and this is Dr. Livingstone Winston Jacobs. Jacobs is in official academic regalia, or academic dress, as it's also called. And what his uniform is symbolizing his specific degree program. Because of the 3 chevrons right here, scarlet colored, of course, scarlet ribbon, scarlet hood, scarlet stole, scarlet hood, scarlet chevrons. This means the 3 chevrons symbolize PhD level. Doctor of Divinity also includes ministry, religion, sacred theology, and divinity. And divinity, ministry, religion, and sacred theology, and also this is the same color for canon law, which is very telling. And but look at the hand signal here. Okay. See how this is not a normal handshake sign. This is a hidden meaning behind what they're doing here. And so how about we look at, this is a pass grip of a Master Mason, tubal cane. Okay? The thumb is extended to reach to the third to the fourth finger. Okay? Or Jakin, real grip of a fellow handshake. Looks similar to the handshake between Jacobs and Bogart.
Show it again.
And here's the picture again.
It is kind of peculiar why they're, standing there shaking hands that way. I don't know. Maybe not Masonic, but to me, it's like,
you have to
questionable.
wonder.
It's a posed picture, so it's kind of weird. But
nuts. What did I just do? Okay. I was trying to get back to that picture, and it didn't want me to.
Okay. So we've covered that. Go to the next thing, please.
Okay. Now, his background, the profile of this guy, is Beacon Hill Calvary Ministries. This is the profile of Jacobs.
Okay,
Bishop
just
Jacobs.
Get through this quickly because we
and he the assembly known as Beacon Hill Calvary Ministries has since released 2 missionaries, 10 pastors to the ministry, and 5 churches planted, pioneered, and established without its ministry. And sounds like a military evaluation report. But congregation inaugurated and ordained Jacobs to bishop on 20th of October 2002. The inauguration was appreciated by followers and fellow clergymen. Bishop Jacobs has founded the International Assemblies of God of Western Cape, South Africa, which is the mother church, as you'll see. From a congregation he pioneered and established in Mitchell's Plain from 1978. Since then, as Mother Church, have given birth to various congregations in Western Cape and the Eastern Cape. All these different names listed right here. Christian Revival Center, Family Enrichment Center, Ursta River, Alpha and Omega Ministries, Delft, Cornerstone of Faith Ministries, Fountain of Joy Ministries, Commission Assemblies, Bayview, Strandfontein under leadership Pastor Stanley and Pastor Stanley, and this one, 7, Hope Ministries RSA, Tafelzig, Beacon Valley, Strandfontein under leadership of Pastor O.P. Bogart, Eastern Cape. And the other ones. The Mother Church was also sending out other missionaries to different places. But this is rather telling. So, Jacobs gave birth to Pastor Bogart. Interesting. And, of course, it won't let me show the whole thing without this, but it says, Livingstone Winston Jacobs, Bishop at Beacon Hill Calvary Ministries International, South Africa. Bishop, Beacon Hill Calvary Ministries International.
Yep.
Founder and visionary of the ministry. Calvary Commission Bible School, served as principal and lecturer in systematic Bible theology. Okay. Why does he call himself bishop? If we look at his photo, he's wearing a Roman collar with African heritage trim and other clerical vestments famous of the clergy and what they wear. So, here we have International Assemblies of God. This is his mother church that he founded. And how ironic. A white leader, being all chummy with this local South African leader. He, is mentoring him, essentially. And that's the website of their international organization that Jacobs founded, the Mother Church, and it's Assemblies of God, Pentecostal, a cooperative fellowship of Pentecostal Spirit-baptized saints from local Pentecostal assemblies of like precious faith throughout the Republic of South Africa. So, Pentecostal and charismatic.
Yep.
And here you can look through Bogart's Twitter account for more pictures. But a few points to note from this article, which is actually written by what I believe to be a Jesuit trained person, because
Ad majorem de gloriam.
there you go.
Jesuit motto right there.
For the greater glory of God. If I can get my notes here.
You're just going to make the point here.
Let me find. Okay, it's right here. The office of the episcopate itself, that is of a bishop. So Winston Jacobs calls himself bishop, and episcopate is a Roman Catholic office for what he's talking about. And so basically, according to his Catholic mother church, Jacobs unites such was the origin of the episcopate, to keep them united to the successor of the blessed apostle Peter, who is our pope. So, the pope is a type of bishop. And this symbolizes This symbolizes the union of the ministry of the diaconate and the priesthood in the person of the bishop, who represents the completion of holy orders, which explains why bishops wear priest garments or vestments, and specifically bishop vestments, and what they wear for different purposes. Cardinals and popes are not separate orders, but they are just different types of bishops. So that's what a cardinal means. It's just a type of bishop. And you can look at the other website for information on the attire of bishops and whatnot, but it's rather telling that Winston Jacobs, he only put out 2 pictures that I could find through research of his vestments and what he looks like and what he's about. So, and what I find to be rather telling is this Assemblies of God Gospel Crusade CA movement from 1961. This is on his International Assemblies of God photo page. I find that telling because Bogart uses the term crusade in the newspaper articles we discussed earlier. Anderson uses the same term to describe what he's doing as far as soul witnessing overseas. And
the Catholics use it.
Yes.
Yep.
So I find that very telling.
Okay, what else?
This is Pentecostal charismatic directory again to show his entry. He has Winston Jacobs has his own entry on this. Beacon Hill, right there. Bishop Livingstone Winston Jacobs, right there. Mm-hmm. And this is telling. We scroll down a little bit. Covenant prayer. Did I go past it?
No.
Okay. Covenant Prayer Episcopal Church. If there's no connection with the Episcopal Church denomination, why is it listed in a charismatic Pentecostal directory of churches? I find that very telling. A Episcopalian bishop is listed alongside other Pentecostal and charismatic church building pastors. I find that very interesting.
Yep.
And there's a Church of Christ, another thing, in the Charismatic and Pentecostal Directory of South Africa.
Yep.
So, I think that pretty much ends it. I have several references about holy orders and how the holy orders describe the vestments of priests and bishops, and that's why I touched base on the specific items of Bogart and Winston Jacobs' vestments, because it's outlined in the Catholic Encyclopedia. It's described in detail, And it's also described how clergymen are able to weasel out of punishment if they're found guilty of wrongdoing.
Yep.
And how they're transferred to another duty station if the Pope says that they should be transferred to another location for public good image.
Yep. That's all you have?
As far as I can tell, yep.
Okay. Well, that was a lot of information, and believe me, there's still a whole lot more that she read through and everything. She's a very, very thorough researcher, and
just to show you the stack of research the Lord helped me do on this, here's a picture of bishop versus priest vestments in simplified form, which you can find yourself if you want to. And I have all the sources printed out that have been used for the study, and a lot of them I couldn't get to because of time constraints, but if you want to know my sources, I'll write them up for you.
I was just found this interesting. It's not even King James down there.
Right.
So it's like, whatever, it's just...
Yeah.
I mean, you just keep going on and on and on about this stupid nonsense and all these connections and everything else. And, but the whole thing is, I think, again, this is a very telling picture right here. Let no man deceive you. These people are deceivers, brethren. Anderson and his cronies and all these goons and everything else, they're lying to you. They're deceiving you.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally hypocritical. Anderson comes out, preaches against Pentecostalism, but yet yokes up with this guy.
And promotes him.
And yeah, it's just like, whatever. This is a very detailed study because, my wife is the one who put this thing together. I knew a little bit about it, but, I just said, you know what, you just, whatever Lord shows you. So she picked out the best research, the best stuff, pointing all this stuff together. And she showed me a lot of it, and I was like, honey, this is going to be a lot, but you know what? It's also to educate you about the thing of the vestments and the things of the unscriptural stuff that the Catholic Church has their people wear, their slaves wear, is really the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And that's Catholic teaching too, by the way. The clergy and things like that, they are servants, they are slaves of the hierarchy.
Right.
So I'm not being racist or mean or whatever else. So that's going to be it for this video, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I think I touched base on everything.
Just a crazy, all this stuff. And again, it ties right back to Bible prophecy. It ties back to the thing of, the Roman Catholic Church system is very busy establishing state churches. They use somebody like Anderson to come out and make him look like he's rogue and he's saying all these crazy things. They'll even get a higher trained guy like this Bogart to come out and do the same thing, to set up. We have to have some regulations, otherwise it can lead to hate and it can lead to people getting killed and whatever. So we have to regulate somewhat in things. And these guys, they'll come out, they'll say all this inflammatory stuff, and yet they'll never go to prison. They'll never get kicked off YouTube. They'll never get kicked off, things like this. They've been banned from certain countries. Please. And again, the military works hand in hand with the Vatican. Whatever. If you're not convinced by now, there's nothing really we can do for you.
Right.
So that's... Go ahead.
I just want to say that to all the papists watching this video, and I know you're watching it, don't try and take down your little websites that criminalize Bogart and his female pastor and his mentor Winston Jacobs and Anderson. Don't try and take your stuff down because you can moan and groan about it, but we have everything printed out and we have multiple layers of copies of your stuff. So you take it down, you misplace it or mistitle it someplace else, you're just making yourselves look bad.
Yep. So that is going to be it. Please stay away from Steven Anderson.
Yes.
Unless it's to expose him.
Right.
But and if you're still going to some kind of Baptist church or something, for crying out loud, get out of the thing. It's yoked up with all this stuff. You know, it's just ridiculous. So that is going to be it. Thank you very much for watching.